Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to create column and line graphs using Google Sheets, which is in your G Drive, and it's basically like Microsoft Excel. So here I've got my two tables. I've got my categorical data for pizza toppings. Then I also have this continuous data or numerical data for dam capacity. So let's do our categorical data first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on a cell, which is this one here. Hold down and drag it, so select all of this except for the total. Then I'm going to go to Insert, then to Chart, click on Chart. Now it's going to give me this sector graph or pie chart. That's an acceptable way of comparing categorical data like this. It shows me the proportion of people that like the cheese pizza and barbecue chicken and supreme pizza, and actually it's given me percentages as well. Today I don't want that though, so I'm going to go over across to here, go to chart type, select this, then I'm going to click on column graph. You could do a horizontal bar chart like this as well, and line graph isn't really appropriate for this type of data. So here I'm going to select column graph. And it's done most of the work for me. So I've got my columns. Each of them is labeled with the category, so barbecue chicken, cheese, Hawaiian. It's also labeled my X and Y axes because I've given each of these columns headings. So it's figured out that this first column here is going to be my X axis with my categorical data, and this is going to be my count data. So it's going to say how many students liked these different pizza toppings. And it's also giving me a scale as well. So rather than starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, it's figured, well, we're actually dealing with some fairly large numbers here. So it's more appropriate to use these intervals of 20. So I've got 0, 20, 40, 60, and 80, and it's evenly spaced those out. So when you're drawing this by hand, that's something you need to think about. But when you're doing it through Google Sheets, it actually does it for you. Now you can actually change this if you wanted to. You could double click on it and change what the intervals are, but I'm quite happy with these. And what it's actually done is it's said, well, 61 is the largest value here. If it was 60, if this cheese pizza was 60, it wouldn't be appropriate for 60 to be my highest value, because otherwise it's kind of touching the very top and it's very close to the heading. So it's a good idea to give it some space. So it's figured, well, do you know what? After 60, another 20 is 80. And that kind of gives us enough space here. So it's nice and easily spaced out. This heading here, number of students versus pizza toppings, doesn't really make sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that to preferred pizza toppings for stage 3 students. And then I'm going to put my total there. It's just a good practice that I like. N equals 147, so that means 147 people responded to that. I'm also going to change the title color here just to make it a little bit darker, and you can do that for the grid lines as well. You can double click on them, and then grid lines, you have to scroll down a little bit, make that black so it's easier for my eyes to track across, so I can see, oh, okay, well, this is a little bit bigger than 60. You could give it data labels as well. You don't need to. You also don't need to color in each of the columns a different color. This is fine because I can see they're separate. If you wanted to, for whatever reason, sometimes it makes it look a little bit easier to distinguish. If it's color coded, you can select on the column. I'm just going to select one column. So select Supreme, and then I can go to fill color, and let's say it's going to be pink. And there you go. Now you'd want to make sure that if you did that, you'd do it for each of them, that each have a separate color. Otherwise, if they all have the same color, that's totally fine as well. Okay, let's move on to our continuous data now. So here I'm going to select the whole table because I don't actually have a total. I'm going to go to Insert, I'm going to go to Chart. And what it's done is it's given me a column graph, which is perfectly fine to represent this data because each of these months is a category. So everything that happens in April 2020, May 2020, and so on. So they actually can be represented categorically like this using a column graph, and it does show me the trend over time. But today what I want is a line graph. So I'm going to go to chart style. Sorry, setup. I'm going to go to setup, sorry. Setup, click on here. Now I can see I've got a line chart here. I could also do an area chart where it kind of colors in everything below the line, but I won't do that today. So click on line chart or line graph. Now this one needs a little bit more work. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to change the heading, just so I don't forget. Snowy Mountains, dam capacity, and the time period is April 2020 to April 2021. I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to go to select text color so it makes it a little bit darker. Okay, now I'm happy with these labels for my X and Y axis. They make sense. I'm not particularly happy with this intervals on my, or the markers on my X axis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this. I'm on my horizontal axis. Now, what I want to do is I want to go down to grid lines and ticks. Now it's done an auto, it's done kind of automatically. It said, well, do you know what, like this is over a period of a year. We can split it into these intervals of 3 months each. Kind of makes sense. But that works fine if I only want to see kind of roughly where the dam level is at over the period of those 4 quarters of a year. But if I want to see where it's at for each month, I'm going to need to change that. So I'm going to change the major count to 10. And now I can see each of the months over that time. So I'm going to close that. I can also format this as well. So I can go the slant of the labels. I want them at 90 degrees. So it's a little bit easier that way. I've still got my grid lines, which is great. It's also given me a scale here as well. So it hasn't done 1%, 2%. It's also said, well, do you know what? Let's split it up into intervals or markers of 25%. So 25, 50, 75, 100, 100 being the most. It might not really be appropriate if it ever gets to 100. You might want to have something a little bit higher up here. Not that you can really get above 100%, otherwise the dam's overflowing. So what I'm going to do also is I'm going to change these here because it's got April 1, May 1. Doesn't really make sense. This is just a formatting thing. So I'm going to go to format, number. So dates can also be a bit tricky because this is an American program. It gives us dates in an American format. I'm going to go to custom number, sorry, more time and date formats. Here I'm going to select day and delete it. Then I'm going to go to, I'm going to select year. So it's going to be, the format will be month, year, apply. And now it's the month, so April 2020 and so on. So it's a lot easier to read. You don't have to have these grid lines if you don't want to, but it can be a good way to track, where was the dam capacity in May 2020? Well, I can just follow this line up here, and there you go. So that's it. All right, have fun today. Enjoy Google Sheets. They're a lot of fun to use. Makes it a lot quicker to quickly produce nice, attractive looking graphs that you can use in your activities for today. All right, thank you guys. I'll see you very shortly in the next video. All right, bye-bye.